It's on record.
Okay. I met Sarah Jacobson in San Francisco, and I was, God, I was in my 20s, I think. Yeah, I was in my 20s. And I was taking the bus to a party, and I saw this girl on the bus who had this little skirt on, and she had these big hairy legs, and these little, like, silver ballerina shoes. And I remember seeing her on the bus and just going, that is really cool. I can't believe that chick has big hairy legs and doesn't shave. And has the balls to wear a skirt like that and those little shoes. And then I was at the party later. I don't even remember what the party was. And I was in line for the bathroom, and lo and behold, that same girl got in line behind me, and we started talking. And I was like, hey, I saw you on the bus. And somehow we got to chatting about stuff, and she told me that she had made a movie called I Was a Teenage Serial Killer, about a female serial killer. And I was just like, that is really rad. And so we started talking about serial killers and all this and that. And from then on, we started hanging out and going to shows, doing stuff together, and became really, really close. One of the things about Sarah was that she was very boisterous. And she was very funny and very intelligent and very gutsy and ballsy, and she was fearless. I always think of, when I think of Sarah, I think of fearless, because she made that movie I Was a Teenage Serial Killer. You know, some people go to film school and they wait till they're done and they graduate and this and that happens and wait till they get everything together and I don't know what you say, all your ducks in a row. But Sarah was just like, no, I'm going to make a movie, and she totally would do it. And she did that with Mary Jane's Not a Virgin Anymore. And when she asked me to be in the movie, I don't even really remember because it was so long ago. But basically the part she wrote was like playing myself. So it was really easy. It was not that big a deal. And it was fun. It was a lot of hard work. And it took, I remember like 3 years after we started, the movie finally got edited and finished. 3 years. So by the time the premiere happened and we watched it, it was like, oh man, we filmed it so long ago. But some of the lines in the movie, I remember her working on her script, and she would be like, tell me that story about whatever, and like the story about how a woman can get more stimulated when she's on top. That was actually from conversations that Sarah and I had about the clitoris and this and that, and it was so funny like seeing that get written into the script. And then other funny things would happen in some of our wild nights out, and she would be like, I'm going to write that into my next script, and like I knew she would. It was pretty funny. I remember hanging out at Sarah's house, and her mom lived upstairs, Ruth lived upstairs, and Sarah lived kind of down in the bottom floor, and it was kind of a 70s kind of house. I feel like there was shag carpet kind of thing, and we'd hang out and watch movies. That was a big pastime of ours together. We'd watch movies. We went to a lot of punk rock and roll shows. We did that all the time. And Sarah, when she came to see my band, it was like, I was always excited when Sarah was there because it was like the party arrived. She was always boisterous and loud, and everyone else could be kind of sitting down and being mellow. But Sarah would, woohoo! And I remember one time my ukulele band was playing, and she was up there in this big moo-moo, like, doing the hooky wow. I think she was the only person doing it, but it was really cute and funny. Sarah always wanted to do a remake of Ladies and Gentlemen, The Fabulous Dance. And I know we watched that movie together a couple times. We both loved that movie. And I always knew she would. I was like, yeah, that's going to be so cool when she actually does it. But unfortunately, that never happened because she didn't live long enough. That's my dog trying to scratch under the door right now. So just ignore that. Is that Ginger? Should I just go let her in? Alright, sorry, let me just let her in for a second. Just keep the camera where it is. Alright, girls. Anyway, it's kind of hard to keep the dogs out when you're doing stuff like this. Anyway, what was I going to say about Sarah? I don't know, the thing that was cool about Sarah is that she was fired up and passionate, and she got things done. And unfortunately, though, that burned some bridges with friends of hers, because when you're passionate about something, maybe you're a little over the top about it and you want to talk about it all the time and think about it all the time and that's what's on your mind all the time. And I know that burned a lot of people out, and you know, I was one of those people eventually, which is really sad. And you know, when I heard she had cancer, I was really sad for her, and I found her address and I sent her a card, and she called me, and we hadn't talked to God for maybe 5 years, and she told me that she was given 3 years to live, and I was totally shocked. I had no idea it was terminal. And after that conversation, I don't know if we talked once more or if that was it, but 3 months later she was dead. And what really got to me about it is that I know people who've died from drug overdoses or suicides, things like that. But Sarah wanted to live, and she had all these plans. She had things she was going to get done. And I think it's unfortunate that, like, someone like Sarah's taken from us when, I don't know, there's a lot of lazy people in the world. Ginger, you got to be quiet here with the little bones. There's a lot of people who maybe don't appreciate life as much, and they're still here. But I think Sarah, she really, really genuinely did appreciate it, and she was full of ideas and passion and, I don't know, ballsy, gutsy, fiery, loud. That was Sarah Jacobson. And yeah, I miss her. Even if I hadn't seen her for a long time, it was always good to know she was out there doing her thing and, you know, inspiring other women, which I think is really, really important. So, I'm trying to think if there was anything else. There was one thing I wanted to say about, when, after Sarah died, there was like kind of a movie screening of a retrospective of films she had done at Artist Television Access, and I went, and I saw films that she'd made that I hadn't seen since she and I hadn't really been talking, about 5 years after she moved from San Francisco. And there was one where she went to her high school reunion, and with a video camera, and just fully slammed these people who were mean to her when she was in high school. And, you know, she said to the one guy something like, oh, he's like, hi, and she goes, remember how you used to call me a fat Jew? And I was like, man, that was so brilliant, and his wife's embarrassed, and he's embarrassed. And it's like, those are the things Sarah did that, like, were so great, and I wish that more people were like Sarah. I think that's all. That's good.